Ups and downs with this bike, really. I knew it was never going to be worth a mega amount of money. But anyway, so when I bought it as a 1985 Husky 250 WR. And a friend of mine commented that it was actually an 84 CR. So anyway, I've checked out the frame and the engine numbers, and I can confirm it definitely is an 84 250 CR. So to me that makes it a bit more desirable. The motocross bikes are a little bit more desirable than the enduro bikes for some reason. It's just the way it is. So obviously this is the first year that the Huskies went to water cooled. So it's a water cooled 252 stroke. It's obviously it's got the wrong tank on it, it's got a desert tank on it, it's got side panels missing, etc, etc. Someone's put front light on it, there's a lighting coil coming off the stator. So they've obviously changed the ignition and this, that and the other, but definitely the engine and frame numbers all match up to it being an 84. The engine number is the same for 84 and 85, but with the frame number being 84, I'm sure it would have been. I'm sure it would. It's the engine that the bike came out of the factory with. So then, the upside of this bike is that when I bought it, it was supposed to be seized, but it's a left-hand kick on this. It's definitely not seized. Definitely turns over. But then there's no spark, so it's a motorplate ignition. I've got some testing information on how to test these ignitions, and I've tested everything and it all points to it being alright, but it's definitely not sparking. I've tried a different coil, different plug, blah blah blah, and still no spark, so no chance of this one running. And then the gears as well. I don't know if you've ever, if you're interested in this, the clutch housing comes off, and you've got the kickstart in there. So the kickstart shaft comes out with the clutch housing, as does the gear selector. So I suspect that it's just not lined up when whoever's put the clutch cover back on. They've not lined it up, and therefore it's not engaging the gears. But yeah, it's not selecting gears at the moment. So no spark and not selecting gears. So they're two pretty disappointing bits of information about this bike. But other than that, it kind of looks worse than it is really. The frame seems to be in good nick. We'll spin the camera around so you can see what I'm going on about. So yeah, so the frame seems to be in really good nick. Very dirty, but no real damage to the frame at all that I've seen so far. Like I say, very dirty. When I was testing the coil and that, I had the seat off and saw inside the airbox, and there's like cat or dog hairs or whatever in there. The chain guard is missing. That's often the case. It's obviously a radiator because it's water cooled. The pipe has had this pipe guard on it. Can't actually see. Looks as though it's been welded up here. Maybe there's been a plate put on. Maybe that's factory. Not entirely sure. But yeah, you can't see any like dents or anything like that. The forks, the chrome's looking pretty good at the top and further down as well. Got a good action there on that fork. Front rim, obviously the tyre's gone, but the front rim, other than being dirty, looks to be pretty good. it's not dented, and the gold anodizing looks pretty good on there. So that's a very good sign. So a couple of dents this side on the pipe. Everything else looking pretty good. I mean, if it were me, I'd be trying to find an original tank and sticking this back into motocross trim. It's not sparking, so probably the right thing to do is to get an HPI ignition for it. It'll definitely spark then, and it'll run, and you're not running 40-year-old electronic ignition components, so more likely to be more reliable. I've noticed that the inlet manifold here has been gummed up with like silicone or whatever they've used to gum that up, so it's obviously been cracked at some point. Then they've siliconed it up so it's not going to draw air in, but they are obviously more liable to failing if you've got to that point with them. These shocks that are on the back here, they're flipping mega shocks. Definitely want to get them rebuilt. They're a great piece of suspension there for you. Swing arm and the side stand. The side stand is slightly bent, the bracket here, but they often break there. I've seen a lot worse. Worthwhile having that on. Kind of a handy thing. The rear wheel, so looks like something's happened to it here. I can't see that it's cracked or anything like that. Maybe worth at some point having that re-anodized. Yeah, something similar on this side as well. Maybe there has been a break in it at some point and someone's welded it up and then ground it back. Not sure what's happened there, but other than that, it looks straight. So having that re-anodized to match the front. Oh, if you're going to race it, I mean, just run it as it is, I suppose. Depends how bung you want your race bike to look, doesn't it? I mean, this would be ideal if you have another one that you're racing, or it'd be a great thing to restore, really. That spark issue won't be that difficult to resolve. I'm assuming that the gearbox won't either, to be perfectly honest with you. Nice simple engines, nice and easy to work on. There we go, 1984 Husqvarna 250cr water-cooled bike going up for sale. Just noticed that the rear brake plate on this has been wearing through on this edge, so at minimum that's going to need to be replaced. That'll be a magnesium plate. So yeah, that's going to be susceptible to cracking. it's already been weakened. So I mean, you do find these brake plates quite readily. There'll be loads of them around, so it should be easy to find a replacement. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search Phoenix Motos.